for good. Can let's just have a revision? Yes. Can somebody remind us of what we discussed last week? Sorry, 2 weeks ago, I believe. Yeah, or more than that, 3 weeks ago. So we started with who a child is. Yes. Can somebody remind us about our discussion around who a child? We just have a brief summary of what we discussed, then we start a new topic this week. So who is a child? Quickly now, let's take 10 minutes to revise what we did to refresh our memories. Who is a child? Yes, quickly now. We shouldn't take us 10 minutes to do this. Can somebody help us about what we discussed on who a child is?
Yeah, a child is a person under the age of 18 who rely on others
Age of
to
what?
make decisions. Under the age of 18, who is not
Okay.
yet, and always relies on other people to make decisions for them.
Okay. Can we now, we said so that the definitions are similar, but some say below 18, some say 18 and above. And then can we mention one or two issues arising from this definition that we'll have to deal with? I'll probably have to deal with the definition of who a child is. Hello. Am I alone online?
No, ma.
Okay, now. Okay, so what are the issues we identified in respect of this?
Now we said that, okay, what about the children that are with disability? Can we call them a child? Or all these children that are born with one defect or the other, and they're almost like 20, but they are still behaving like a child. So we mentioned topic, as in we said things around them that can they be called children? So can they be categorized as a child? And we talked about the nature of a child that is peculiar because we have different categories of children.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you for bailing us out. And we said that in Nigeria, you can also achieve what? The age of majority. The age of majority by what? By what? How can we achieve the age of majority, especially in the northern part of the country? How can we achieve the age of majority? Hello?
Hi, ma. I think one of the contribution that was made then was that this really lie in the hands of the national, is it law enforcement agents now, or those that make the law? Because you said something, if I remember.
Sorry to interrupt. I don't know if it's my sister. Okay, I think it's my sister. Can we? Oh no, it's not. Can we? Can you please speak louder? I'm straining to hear you.
Okay. How about now?
Yes. Okay, it's better now. Yes.
Okay. I said one of the contribution then, one of the submission then was that considering the differences in our culture, most especially the northern side of the country here in Nigeria now, it may not be that very easy to harmonize that is to achieve that which you just said now. Some things which are morally defective to us here, probably in the eastern part of the country or the west, to them is just their own norm. So to now bring about harmonizing that is, it might actually be a little difficult unless the national law to be put in place that will not persuade, but just say this is what should happen and it is law. But I said something then that in Nigeria, as it is today, there are laws, there are so many laws in places which are just there for nothing's sake. So,
yeah. Yes, to get straight to the point, we said you can achieve the age of majority by marriage. That is what I was looking for. You said children are those 18 and below, 18 and above, various variations of that definition. But by our own local law, you can achieve the age of majority by marriage. Even an underage child, that means a child, a girl of 16, 17, can be said to have achieved the age of majority by marriage under the native law and custom. So that not everyone has domesticated the child's rights law. Not every state has domesticated the child's rights law. Then we moved on to the philosophy of childcare and protection. What is the major philosophy of childcare and protection? Based on our discussion, what is the main philosophy of childcare and protection?
Every child has a right to be free from harm.
Fantastic. Every child has a right to be free from harm. Yes, that's very, very good and succinct and straight to the point answer. Every child has a right to be free from harm. Well, we also identified some of the protection, to be given to children. Can we mention some? Hello? Can we mention some protection?
Hello, ma, accountability.
Can you come again? Protection from what?
Accountability.
Accountability. Can we have another answer? In what way? What do you mean by that? Can you explain what you mean by protection from accountability? Can you explain that?
Sorry, ma, where I am is noisy, but it's part of what we discussed last time we met. We mentioned accountability. We mentioned harmful participation. We mentioned sexually or physically abused under the protection of right child, and we also mentioned the right lack of health, lack of safe environment, lack of education, lack of knowledge, lack of poverty.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Can any other contribution? Any other contribution? So we said some of the protection to be given to children, they should be protected from violence, protected from exploitation, protected from abuse, neglect, harmful practices, and we gave various examples at that time. True or false? True or false?
True, ma. True, ma.
Okay, because it appears I'm speaking Greek today. And we discussed strategic objective of child's right law. Can you mention one or two Ihuoma? Hello, ma. Hello? Hello? Have I been speaking to myself?
Hello, ma.
Wow.
Can't hear you, sis. Can't hear any.
Really? Oh, I just realized that.
Yes, ma.
Oh, okay. I said, can we mention some of the principles, the strategic objectives of child's rights law? Strategic objective that we mentioned. Can anybody remember two? At least two? We talked about leaving no child behind. True or false?
True, ma.
And then we talked about to avoid delays when it comes to children's matter, they must be expeditiously acted upon, avoid delays as much as possible. And then all children should grow up in a protective environment. That is strategic objective. We mentioned the 5 principles of childcare protection. This one is simple. Okay, contributions, please. Contribution.
You mentioned prevention,
Yes.
protection, paramountcy, partnership, or collaborate, identify stakeholders, then parental and other stakeholders' responsibilities.
Thank you, Lady Ajayi. Thank you very much for bailing us out. I've not heard Oji's voice today. Oji's voice. I've not heard Oji's voice today. So we now said the last issue we talked about, the child's rights law, encourages stakeholders to do what? What are the things that the child's rights law is encouraging stakeholders to do? Can we mention one or two? Encouraging stakeholders to do. Hello. Who are the people online? Nora Jackson. Nora Jackson. Odunayo Abiola Oluwabusayo. Olufolake Sonny. Barbara Abba. Lady Barbara Abba. Any contributions to what we're discussing? Lady Ajayi Oluwafunbi has been bailing us out. Okay, we also discussed the issue of the Child's Rights Law, rules and regulation, practice and procedure encourages stakeholders to what? Respect the child's dignity. Respect the child's dignity, treat all children fairly and equitably, protect children against unfair discrimination. That is where we say, okay, if you are in charge of something, you don't give to only Yoruba children or even give to Yoruba children that are from Ado-Ekiti because you are from Ado-Ekiti and leave the children from Abeokuta. Or you are to do something, you leave outside children out because of the crimes of their father and forefathers. Did we discuss that or not? Hello? Or is it sounding Greek to us? Okay,
We did, ma. We discussed the topic.
Because I'm beginning to feel that maybe I'm speaking Greek. Now today, let us start with you. I hope you catch up on that, and I'll send a couple of assignments so you can do that, and you have to submit it before the next class. Today we're going to deal with different types or categories of children. We're going to deal with children in conflict with the law and children in contact with the law. We're going to deal with the rights, duties, and responsibilities of children. If we have time, we can take migrant children. If not, we'll take it when we meet next. So, okay. Lady Fosa has acknowledged the note I sent to her. So you should expect my note from the first class, and you have to do your own part. So we're talking about different types of children today. Just like we've discussed earlier, the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, UNCRC, defines a child as a human being below the age of 18 years unless the law applicable to the child, unless the law under which the child is applicable, majority is attained earlier. That is the basic law for child's rights law. All derives, have its roots in the United Nations Convention of the Rights of the Child, UNCRC, not CKC, CRC. So, and then, but we now, again, let me see. Let me see. Just a minute. Let me see if I can share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so we have the definition of the, like I said before, I want us to see if we can treat types of children in conflict with the law, and children in contact with the law, the rights, duties, and responsibilities. If we can, we'll take migrant children and the law. I will talk about the kind of action we'll take. And just like I said, United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, UNCRC, defines a child as a human being below the age of 18 years, unless under the law applicable to the child, majority is attained earlier. So you can see that the law is loose there, it's not very tight, and not all countries, and even within the country like Nigeria, not all states have domesticated that law. So that's why there's still room for advocacy for professionals like us, social workers like us. And again, well, under our own constitution, section 29(4), 1999 Constitution defines a child as any person under the age of 18. And then we have the Child's Right Law. We'll talk about that earlier. The African Charter on the Rights of Welfare of the Child also adopted this in Article 2. Before we go ahead, what do you understand by what we're discussing? Can you give me an example of children in conflict with the law? Children in conflict with the law. Who can... children in conflict with the law. What do you understand by that?
From the picture on your slide, what we are seeing here is child labor, and it is in conflict with the law. There shouldn't be child labor. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, because it's multidimensional, but I want you to use your own understanding. What is the difference between children in contact with the law and children in conflict with the law?
Okay, can I? Sorry, ma, you said children in, please, your first set,
hello?
Children in.
Hello, one person at a time.
Okay.
Yeah. Who's
children in conflict with the law? I think children in conflict with the law are children that have committed a crime or are being suspect for committing a crime. Then children in contact with the law are maybe children, they say maybe children that were abused or molested, maybe the law one of these social work agencies rescued them or something.
Any other opinion? Any other opinion? Any other opinion?
Hello, ma.
Yes, Lady Oji, yes.
Yeah, I can say that children in contact with the law are those ones under the protection of the government, like those ones in the adoption centers, safe homes, and the children homes.
Okay. So is there any different opinion from what has been expressed? Okay, well, let us, there's no wrong answer. So you already have an idea of what we are to discuss today. You know, we're talking about classification of children in need of care and protection. So these children in need of care and protection are found in the following situations. In families at risk. Families at risk. You know, when we say families at risk, it means where the parents are living separately. Maybe the father is working in Abuja, the mother is working in Lagos, or the parents are working in the city, and the children are with their grandmother, aged grandmother. The father is in a different country, or the mother is in a different country, and the children are somewhere. We have children who are on the street. From the picture you saw, they are hawking. And children who are in institutions like motherless babies homes, orphanages, and other institutions of care. So these are children we classify as children in need of care and protection under the law. And so these are vulnerable children, and they are prone to abuse. They are prone to be in conflict with the law. They are prone to be in contact with the law. So we have the street children, as you saw them, the abandoned children, destitute children, working children, abused children. These are the vulnerable groups. Children who are victims of commercial sexual exploitation, children who are victims of trafficking, children engaging in substance abuse, children in conflicts and disaster situations, like in the northeastern part of Nigeria. You know, children even in natural environmental disaster areas, children in families at risk. These are some of the vulnerable children, and they are in need of care and protection. These are the children we have, you know. So you can see from your limited examples, we have expanded it to, you know, working class children. You know, the children are hawking and they are working at the same time. True or false? Hello? Are we together? Are we together? I'm not talking to myself. This is why I like asking questions. Hello? Yes. Okay, can we, you know, there's a category of children now I have not listed here. Is in the next slide. Who can guess the category of these children that I will show after I hear from you? In my own slide, we have the street children, the pictures you saw, orphan children, abandoned, destitute children. We see them every day, don't we? Do we not see them?
We do.
Hello?
Yes, we do.
Exactly. Children engaging in substance abuse. Children, you can see if you go sometimes, now that airfare is becoming so exorbitant, if you go to the car park, you will see a child under 10 already smoking big cigar. True or false? Hello?
True.
So because he doesn't have breakfast now, it is the big cigar that the big ones left behind that he will go and take as his breakfast. True or false? So such a child, by the time the child is a teenager, what happens? He becomes a drug addict. So, but there's a category of children I have not mentioned. It's not on this slide, it's in the next slide. Can somebody mention to me? Let's just hazard a guess. Think through. There's a category that is not here.
Children sex workers.
It is here, sexual exploitation and trafficking. It is
Okay.
here. Another guess?
Children in refugee camps, refugee or IDP camps.
Yes, children in conflict and disaster situations. Yes, it can go fall under that. Yes, another example. Another example.
I think children with disability.
Oh, let us give the Balogun a round of applause. Good. Thank you very much. Differently abled children. Hello? Can you see?
Hi.
We can see.
Mentally ill, differently abled. Sometimes we don't like using the word physically challenged because they can have ability in other areas. So sometimes we prefer to call them differently abled children. But for the purposes of discussion, well, mentally ill, physically challenged, HIV, AIDS, children in conflict with the law, juveniles in contact with the law. These are vulnerable children. All of them are vulnerable children, and they are in need of care and protection. They are what? In need of care and protection. So let us look at our own chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Chapter 4 is the chapter that addresses the rights of children. So it is a fundamental human right of children. Fundamental human rights of children is as stated in our own chapter 4. In fact, children can sue the society for abuse of their fundamental human rights. So these are the rights as stated in chapter 4 of the Nigerian Constitution. And it is between section 33 to 46. We have the right to life, the right to life, right to dignity of human person, just like we discussed in our first class, even enshrined in our Constitution. So when we abuse these children, or when we detain them, lock them up in a room, we are violating their right to personal liberty. Their right to personal liberty. And when we even refuse to hear their own side of the story, what are we doing? We are violating their right to fair hearing. We are violating their right what? To fair hearing. We the Yorubas, you say, "Gbẹ́nu dákẹ́ ńbẹ̀ yẹn. Kí ló ń sọ? À ń sọ̀rọ̀. Will you keep quiet, my friend?" In a way, you are stepping on their rights, violating their right to fair hearing. And when we disrupt their family life, we are disrupting their right to privacy and family life. And in some societies, although it is not as rampant anymore, children can come together to advocate for something. So they have the rights, freedom of thought, freedom of thinking, conscience, and religion. So what we're saying is that children have all these rights. They have all these rights: the right to life, the right to dignity of human person. So can we give example of how we can abuse these rights? Example of how we can abuse these rights. How we can abuse these rights. Or give an example of a case you have seen where this right was abused.
Okay, the case of a fair hearing.
Yeah.
There was a case of a child stealing, and it was taken to the police station. They were not even ready to hear what the child has to say. Like they believed after the woman has beaten, like the day, like, okay, the child was a maid actually, and she
Okay.
insisted that she didn't take anything. At the end of the day, it was the woman's child that took what she was being accused of, but she was not given the avenue to even defend herself.
To
Just maybe
express
because she was
himself.
a maid, yes, she was not able to even say I did not do it because as a and she was brutally dealt with. So
Mm.
that right was violated.
Was violated. So you can see, with so in fact, it is even not just, it's not in local government law. It's replicated in the child. It is even part what we're saying now is that it's even in our the constitution that in, that the adults have, children also have it, as stated in chapter 4. This right to life, which is applicable to adults, is also applicable to children. So that is why it is this right as well is also stated in the child's rights law. So again, more of the right to freedom of expression and the press, right to movement, right to freedom from discrimination. So we said about equity. When you cannot discriminate against a child because of race, color, or creed. You cannot discriminate against a child because of race, color, creed. I've told you at the beginning of my class, I have these slides, but as I teach, I will give practical example. So this one that I said now is not in this slide. If I remember, I'll put it in the subsequent notes. You cannot discriminate against a child because of race, color, or creed. So these are rights that like I said, these rights, they are more, they were taken and embodied in the Child's Rights Act of 2003. It is embodied in the Child's Rights Act. This right that is in chapter 4 of our Constitution is embodied in the Child's Rights Act of 2003. So when you are looking for a body of law that directly impacts children, what is that act called? The Child's Rights Act. The Child's Rights Act of 2003. So the Child's Rights Act, if we look at it, it not only states the rights of children, it also states their responsibilities as well. It states their what? Their responsibilities. A child has a right, and the child, so when we're educating our children, yes, you have your rights, but you also have what? You also have a responsibility. So the law guarantees that the rights of children, in part 2, section 3 to 20. So we will not go through everything because it will form part of the assignments that that will be given to you, circulated later. So section 3 to 20. What the Rights Act is actually addressing is to provide what is the best interest of the child. What is in the best interest of the child at all times? Like for example, let me ask a question. Whose primary responsibility is it to raise a child? Hello?
The parents.
The parents have the primary responsibilities to raise a child. But when you find out that this child is exposed to domestic abuse, everyday domestic abuse by the parents or by the guardian, what do you do? Hello? This is a simple, straightforward question. I'm not making it complicated. What do you do in that instance? Hello? Where the parents are not responsible to take care of that child, what do you do?
We can report, we have different approaches. We can report it to the relevant agency, child protection agencies concerned,
Okay.
and they can take it up.
You can take it up.
Of the Department of the Children Protection Agencies, depending on what particular crime is involved in that case.
Okay. You know, we now, you know, we now have instances where educated young couple, both of them are doing drugs. You know, both of them are doing drugs. As the father is doing cocaine, the mother is smoking marijuana. It's, you know, most of them are doing drugs. So these are not garage people. Oh. These are educated people, you know. So, you know, so what the Child's Right Act is after is what is in the best interest of a child at a particular time. Apart from reporting to the parents, you know, you also look for the closest or the nearest relative to the child who can take the child in and raise the child in a proper, safe environment. Are we together? Yes. So the law, just like the second bullet point, to give protection and care where necessary. So the child, you know, I don't want us to look at the law when they say child's right law. You know, I don't want us to look at it in the abstract. You know, in the abstract that, they'll be quoting sections, they'll be quoting, we're quoting sections, but we're quoting it in relation to practical things. True or false? Hello?
True.
True. So, you know, because, you know, our social welfare sector is still very, very nascent. It's very young. You know, sometimes you don't have lawyers that will represent the child. For children in contact with the law, that will represent the child. What they have, the person they have that will speak for them is you, the social worker. You are the child's lawyer. Am I communicating? Because the child does not even have money to engage a lawyer. But the child needs somebody who knows his rights, knows the child's rights, to be able to defend that child or make a good case for that child in the juvenile court system. And most times, who is that person? Hello? Most times, who is the person that
worker.
The social worker? A round of applause for social workers. I'm not hearing any clap. Okay, good. So, you know, so the social worker must know the rights of the child in order to be able to defend that child. You must know, and then when you are writing your notes, your case notes, you know, administrative work, you have to say that this law has been violated, and this is the position, this is what you believe is in the best interest of the child, so that the child is given protection and care where necessary. Are we together? Hmm?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
so when we are looking at it in a holistic way, in a holistic way, the rights, as we said, the next slide, you can see application of chapter 4. The child is also entitled to the same rights as an adult. This is what is so in chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution. So, and then that is, and it is in Child's Rights Act, Section 3, that you'll be dealing with as a social worker. Section 4 of the Child's Rights Act is saying the child has a right to survival and development. To survival and development. And I'm very, 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 very interested in section 5. What does section 5 say? For those of you who can see the screen, what does section 5 say?
Right to name.
Please speak up. Please speak up. Oh.
Right to name.
Right to a name. Right to a name. Right to a name. Why is that important? Right to a name. Why is that important? Why is right to a name? Okay, why do you have a name? Why do we have names?
For identity.
Identification.
Identity. So, fantastic. Because when somebody calls you by your name, how do you feel? When somebody calls you by your name,
recognition.
Mr. What?
I will feel recognized.
You will feel recognized.
Makes us a separate entity.
It makes you what?
A separate entity.
It's fantastic. Please, let's have more answers. Let's have more answers. You're on the right track. So when somebody calls you by name, you feel recognized. Your identity is recognized. Your identity is you feel a sense of what? Self-worth. True or false? So, and you know that there are children who don't have names. True or false? Hello?
True.
So how do you want that child to feel? How do you expect that child to feel? A nameless person. A nameless person. If that child grows up, hello?
The child will feel abandoned, feel neglected.
Feel neglected. So you can, even for those of us who have given our children's name, in our anger, when you say, hey, you will come here, how does that child feel? That not calling the child by name and just say you will. Hey, you there, come here. Or we call you goat, you rat, you this. So you see the importance of name. It is the root of the dignity of the human person. The right to a name is the root of the dignity to a human person. Let me put that down. The right to a name is the dignity of the human person. So you see some of these people that they hire later to be assassins and everything like that. Some, if you check, when you interview them, some of them have gone through two or three different or four different identities. So that is the importance of a name. So, and you can see then, okay, as social workers, you know, chapter 13 is saying the child has the right to health and health services. I think Lagos State tried to say something about maybe free medical care for senior citizens and children under certain age. I don't know if that is still operational. How many of us are from Lagos here? How many of us are from Lagos? How many of us are from Lagos here? So, well, the child has a right to health and health services. But in actual fact, is that the situation? Is there any health services person amongst us? Is this still the situation? For those of you who are writing on child's rights law, you have your project on child's rights law. And these are the things, the talking points you will have, whether in reality, what the law is saying and what is the situation on ground? What is the factual situation on ground? Is it the same? So we talked about rights to leisure, recreation, and cultural activities. We can say that, again, they've sold all our car parks. They've sold all our car parks, Abi, in any community. For those of us, can somebody volunteer the area they are living in Lagos? Is it Yaba, Ikorodu? Is it Ibejuleki? Can somebody mention the area they are living in Lagos?
I stay in Ikorodu.
You stay in Ikorodu, okay? In Ikorodu, is there a park for children to play? Is there a leisure park? When I was growing up, there was a Papa Park. The place where they used to take us to is now Banana Island, Ikoyi Park. It's now Banana Island. Abi is Parkview Estate. That was where they used to take us when I was in. What? There's one where?
There's one in Ikorodu.
There's a children's park in Ikorodu. Okay, where is that in Ikorodu?
Is that Itamaga?
Okay, what kind of things do they have there for children to play with?
Though I've not entered there before, it's when I'm trying to search on my practicum. So that is how I got there.
Okay, go there and let us know what you find out. I will ask you in the next class. Okay, there is one in Ikorodu. Can another person tell us, is there one where a child can play? We are saying rights to leisure, recreation, and cultural activity. We don't pack everything in our law, but we will not. And so when we're trying to advocate for child's rights, these are the things we can say. When you see your counselor, you see the counselor in your community, you see the senator for the counselor in the ward, senator for the district or zone. These are the things you can use as advocacy points. You know, the law says that there's dignity for every child. The child has for leisure, recreation, and cultural activities. Where is that in our own community? These are advocacy points, okay? These are advocacy points. So the only leisure park we have in Lagos is the one in Ikorodu.
No, there are some in Ikeja.
Okay, where in
Most,
Ikeja?
but most times, most of them are privatized.
We have
Yes.
in the, if you know Kudirat Abiola roundabout very, very well, Kudirat Abiola, we have one just if you are going towards the Okpebbi Lake Bridge, there's one there.
Yes, around that side.
There's another
There's
one
also,
close
see
to
now the
Shropshire.
something.
Okay, let
Around
the
that
gentleman
ShopRite.
finish speaking first. So big like but around Kudirat
Okpebbi
Abiola,
Lake, yes, Okpebbi Lake Bridge.
Okpebili.
There's one
So
before
there's
Okpebbi Lake Bridge.
okay. So have you been there recently?
No, I've not been there recently.
Okay, for your practicum, maybe you should go there and tell us what they have. So when we are talking about advocacy, these are the things we should note down. Because the more we are and the more noise we make, then we can begin to rebuild or build the social services sector in Nigeria. But from what you are even telling me now, there is no functional one in every society. Even the ones we have, they are privatized. There is no public one. But those of us who are opportune to travel abroad, you can enter a park and have your lunch there. You don't have to pay to enter. There's a small place for your children called for nursing mothers, for those who are nursing their babies, for them to play with their children during break time and then take them back to the care center and go back to work. How many of that do we have? And we have it in our law as Section 12. Are we together? Am I communicating?
Yes, we are.
Yes, ma'am.
So we need to begin to articulate all these things and begin to make advocacy, build advocacy around them. Build advocacy around them. There are so the rights continue, rights of a child to free, compulsory, universal primary education. So this is universal primary education. So can I ask a question? Why do we still prefer to send our children to private schools when they are government schools? Why?
Because there are so many reasons. The academics syllabus is more regular because it's not affected by frequent government strikes, and we're able to hold them to account more than the government workers with less bureaucratic bottleneck, and they have more better child protection. Our children are better protected in the private schools than the public schools, and the facility also in the facilities available in the private school is far more better than that of the government school, and so on and so forth.
Mr. McFay Fame, you have finished government too. You have finished government. So you have finished government. But look at the rights now, Section 15. Rights of a child to free, compulsory, universal primary education. Is a right embodied in the law. So you see that we have a lot of advocacy and interventions that we can do, we can embark upon, So we have all this, but there's argument in protection. But in the newspapers and in the news, we heard of abuse of a girl child by her fellow colleague in a British school in Abuja that went viral. True or false? Hello?
True, ma'am.
So, so we really need to, the abuse now, it's cutting across culture. It's not for a sect or a group of people in the society. It's not for, it is before you see apologies to them because it's honest work. You see a vulcanizer or a mechanic beating his wife. and you say that is their lifestyle. But you find that amongst educated people as well. So before it's before you hear of child abuse in a private school, an elitist school, it was rare. A school was shut down in Lekki some 2-3 years ago when the child died. They were doing some cult initiation for the boy, according to the story. And then I think I read a couple of days ago, people are still fighting for the death of a boy who died in the Air Force Secondary School in Kaduna. So all these issues, you can see that, it is not by mistake that you are a social worker. You have been led here to lend your voice to the building up of a social services sector that is of international standards. And you can see that there is a lot of work to be done, a whole lot of work to be done. So these are the issues I'm just bringing out. We cannot go through all the rights. The right of children, of unborn children to protection against harm. So this is also a topical issue. And, the way I'm bringing it out, I'm sure when we see the right of a child in need of, the right of the unborn child, you probably, yes, depend on your faith and your outlook in life. Your mind will go straight to abortion and all that, which in itself is in accordance to people of faith is not good. It is condemnable. However, beyond and above that, people have lost their pregnancies due to carelessness of doctors and nurses. Women have died due to neglect at childbirth. Children have died due to neglect at the point of delivery. True or false? So it is that.
True.
Yes. So that is what Section 17 is trying to address. Right of the unborn to protection against harm. So these are the issues we should not look at law. Some people are probably not taking this course because they say, oh, lawyer, hey, section, law, this and all that. But what I'm trying to do is to break it down and to make it applicable to everyday life and living. So these are the things, just like I said, there are instances where the child will not have access to a lawyer. The child will have access to a social worker. So it behoves you to know the law as it affects children, so that when that time comes and you see that there is no lawyer to stand for the child, then you can step in. And in stepping in, you can step in well armed with what you know, with your knowledge of the rights of the child. So that is the essence of going through this. And let us now, children's duties and responsibility. We have talked about rights. We have programs for children at schools, in the communities. We want to organize programs. We also need to tell them that, yes, you have rights, but you also have duties and responsibilities. And this is contained in Section 19 of the Child's Rights. Children must respect the rights of the family members and assist the families in times of need. They must assist the family in times of need. Now you saw the children hawking on the streets. Are they being abused or they are helping their family in time of need?
They are
Let
being
us
abused.
They are being abused. Who said that?
Yes.
Sorry, let me see.
Maxi.
Who's Backfay? Okay. Why are they being abused?
Because it's not the responsibility of the child to cater for the family, and also it's not also the responsibility of the child to be out of school when their mates are in school. So they are being deprived of universal basic education, and they are being made to adopt adult responsibility or take on adult responsibility, and therefore denying them their childhood experience.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so who has another view? Who can argue against? Who has another view?
I think yes, you can also say that they are being abused, and you can also say that they're helping their families. Sometimes these children, they go to school, and it's after school they help their parents in the market to walk around. Some of them, their parents will have their own shops, but they will still carry the things around to go and see if they can make a small living and help their family out. So you can also say that they are helping their families by trying to earn a living. Because some of them do go to school. It's after school that they go for that.
Uh-huh. So you see it.
I would have loved to say something, ma.
Okay.
Like, yes, in the contrary, sometimes it will look like they are helping their parents. Like my father used to hawk as a child, so he started his childhood life, he schooled himself through school from primary by paying his own school fees by himself as a child, hawking plantain, snail. It's late now anyway. Hawking snail, hawking all manner of
God
things.
rest his soul.
Yes, because his mother was not feeling fine. The mother had blood pressure, so she was not able to do anything from a very young age.
Yeah.
But it affected him on the long run because it denied us an experience of having a father in him, because he kept living in his past and kept seeing life from the point of view that every child should be able to struggle by themselves, that he did not have father or parents who looked after him, and that he does not need to provide for us. But although he was providing, but he was not seen as a responsibility, he was seen out of duress or out of exigency, not out of fatherly provision. It's different for you to give me something because you know it's on you to do it. But it's another different game entirely when you are doing something for me because you feel it's a privilege that if you withhold it from me, it's not your responsibility. I don't know that you understand those 2 points of view.
Yes, true.
So in the end, that is abuse did not end and start. It did not start and end with him. It continued in his children, which is in us, and even even till he died, that did not change.
Yes,
I think that is one view.
What?
I think that is one view, because like my father too, he started at a young age to take care of himself and his siblings. But then growing up, he made it like a duty, like my children will not go through this line. So he was still providing. I think it all depends on the personality.
Yes. You know,
so it's like I'm not providing for my children because it's under duress. I'm providing because I knew what I went through. I don't want them to go through this. So I have to provide.
Good. You know, if you want to look at that, let's not look at it now comparatively. Human beings react differently in the same situation. Like
yes,
somebody,
because you can see, we get affected by our circumstance in different ways, right? We get yes. One of the stories we use when we're facilitating is the story of the egg and the carrot. The egg is so soft before it enters hot water, but once it enters hot water, it hardens up and transforms. But the carrot comes out very strong. When you chew it, crank. But once it enters hot water, what does it? It becomes jelly. It becomes all soggy and everything. So life, the way we respond to life, sometimes it toughens us up, sometimes it breaks up. It breaks us. So yeah. So you can see what the essence is that, there are some gray areas. I like the examples I want to give as come out through your stories, through your own personal stories. So when you encounter these situations, then you are better able to defend. Remember your assessments, your reports, and your conclusion that will influence the judge or who will determine a child's case must lead to what is in the best interest of that child. I see some child in such circumstance, they are hawking because a parent is ill. They are hawking because maybe the father had an Okada accident, so they are just hawking until the father gets better. They are hawking not during school time. They are hawking after school. They are not hawking outside their immediate neighborhood. They are just hawking within 2-3 streets from the house. So what I'm trying to say is that some circumstances are not black or white. There are different shades of gray. Am I communicating?
Yes, ma'am.
There are different shades of gray. So you must look at each case and determine there is no two cases that is exactly similar. So, the child, you can see some child who are not well brought up, they start insulting their parents, So a child must know that he has the responsibility to respect the rights of every member of the family. Just as he has rights, he has obligation. The child must serve their community, respect the rights of the community members, and promote positive cultural values in the community. So this is not just, this is, we were brought up in a cultural, moral, and it's now even embodied in our law, even in the law that concerns the child. That is Section 19 of the Child's Rights Act. They have the right, they have the responsibility to serve their nation. These are things we should advocate for. I think during the days of Governor Raji Fashola, we started seeing the emergence of brownies, Girl Scouts, Boys Brigade. We started seeing them again. I don't know if I've seen them recently. So these are the things we should use to rebuild our societies, where they are taught values. By then, they will learn to serve their nation, respect the rights of other persons in Nigeria, and strengthen national solidarity. The only thing we have now that helps to strengthen solidarity is being jeopardized, the NYSC. I don't think any parents will be ready to allow the son or the daughter to be sent to Adamawa or Maiduguri or Nasarawa without any protest. The first reaction will be, please, do you know somebody that can help me change this child's post, or to take the child to, I think there is something even on one of the platforms of a brutalized male copper. Have we seen it? A brutalized male copper. I don't know if we have seen it. Maybe I'll send the story to our coordinator to share. Have we seen the story of the brutalized male copper?
No.
Okay, I will send it to our coordinator. One Michael that was brutalized in Zamfara State. If she can share it with us on the, I don't like sharing things like this, but since we're talking about it, so these are the things that we should bring back and help the social welfare or social services, welfare services sector. So the child must also know that he has a responsibility to contribute to the general moral well-being of the society and not disrupt it. And so we look at the, so the child has the right, has the obligation to respect his parents, superiors, elders at all times and assist them in case of need. Can you see that? So when we say that a child is walking and his assistance is needed in case of need, then it is a case of a gray area, and see how we can address the situation of this child. These are these instances where you can find a child to be in conflict with the law. You can have a situation where you have the child to be in conflict with the law. And then, we have instances where the child is in contact with the law. When the parent or the parental figures are absent. So we need to look at these things and address them as they come. So we also have parental duties and responsibilities. Parental duty, once you call yourself a parent or a guardian of a child, you must promote what is in the best interest of the child. Any person who has parental responsibility and rights towards a child has a duty to promote what's in the best interest of the child, guide the child to exercises or our rights in a way that suits the child's evolving capacities, protect the child from neglect, discrimination, violence, abuse, and harm, ensure that the child is adequately cared for when the parent or caregiver is temporarily absent. You can see that the law also recognizes instances where the parent or the guardian can be temporarily absent. So how can we protect the interest of a child that is coming last in class, or second to the last, or third to the last? Have two children, one is always coming first and the other one is struggling. How do you protect the interest of the child that is struggling? Hello? How do you protect the interest of a child that is struggling? Do I still have my class with me?
Yes, ma'am.
On the parental level or on a professional level?
At the parental, let's start because the society starts from the home now. How do you protect the interest? You have two children. One is in fact, if the teacher does not see him in school, the class cannot start because he's 2 topics ahead of the teacher. And then you have one that is struggling. How do you protect the interest of that child that is struggling?
Support. We have to provide support and assurance to the child.
What kind of support?
If the child, for instance, is not coming too well in class, we can provide the child with if we have the means, we can provide the child with a lesson teacher And also we have to draw the attention of the class teacher to it too, that this child is a slow learner and might not be able to move on with the colleague as at when due, and that the teacher should also provide them person-specific support educationally to ensure that this child is not left behind while other children are at the forefront of the class.
Okay, Mr. Delabu, you wanted to say something, please. Go
Yes,
ahead.
to answer that question by this very brief story. Something happened to a young man a few years ago. I read about him. I've forgotten about his name now. He was so very dull a child in school, to the point that after the class teacher and all of that tried their best and they realized that he was still not improving. So they came up with a drafted note alongside with child home to the mother one particular day, and the note was written, "Your child haven't tried all our best, realize that he's not improving, so the teacher can no longer cope with him. So please, we pray thee to just manage him as a student at home by yourself."
Yes.
That's not actually being put, but I just want to, summarize like that. Then what the mother did to help that child was that the mother took that note that was written from his school and changed it that, "Oh, your child mental ability is too high and no class teacher here can handle him to fulfill his potential. Please take him to a more equipped and more, a more professional school that can take care of him because he's a great leader in our nation." To the mother changed that note because she knows that he's still going to ask questions about that paper, and not kept that paper. Then she adjusted her work and made herself a permanent teacher personally to that our child.
Yes.
So after a few years, the woman trying her best, she later got her another school. Got him another school. The boy become one of the best in that school. And so many years when he grew up, he found out that note and the original one that was brought from the school. What the mother really did to encourage that child then was not, immediately when they brought him home, some parents were like, after all my money I wasted, all my this and that. She did not discourage him mentally or about. No, is answering the question now. We are to look beyond what the teacher or himself or herself is seeing, not discouraging them mentally or morally.
Yes. Yes. Fantastic. You've just told the personal story of Thomas Edison. Yes. Thomas Edison. Yes. The person who discovered or created the light bulb. Yes. Fantastic. That is, we need to, you have to determine, so if we can, do this and identify the children with special needs, children with slow learners, these are the things. Do we have such facilities for such in our public schools? No, we do not. So how do we now say we're looking at determining children what is in the best interest of the child, or providing the children with such facilities, So we have discovered with such facilities, and we really need to look at vulnerable children who are also educationally vulnerable, and what we can do. Now we can say that rights of children, the children who are in conflict with the law, street children, these are bad children, these are not well-raised children, you're going to meet a lot of them in the juvenile court system or in the social work process. You're going to meet a lot of street children, children in need of care and protection. So when they are in the court system and you need to represent them like that, you must know that they also have rights. You may not like them. They may not be ajebota. They have committed crime, or they are suspected to have. Just like our colleague told us, one of them was wrongly accused of stealing. And after the child has been detained and everything, they later discovered that it was even the person who reported the child that stole whatever it is that was missing. So under this circumstance, the law, if a child is presumed to be innocent, just like an adult, even more so a child in conflict and in contact with the law, they are presumed to be innocent until proven guilty. You know, the children in conflict with the law, the juveniles from risk group, they are not they are not so because of their own doing. It is the circumstance of their life that has brought them to that. If they have poverty has brought them to it, social circumstance has brought them to it, economic circumstance has brought them to the state that they are. A lack of guardians has brought them to the state that they are. So it is, so it is important that we are mindful of the process, mindful of the process when we talk about juvenile systems and what's our role in it. Juvenile systems and our role in it. They are there, they are in conflict with the law because they are victims of abuse and neglect, poor parenting, difficulties, social values, the breakdown of our social values, and then we said that children can come in contact with the law not because of anything they have done, maybe because they for custodial purposes. They are in conflict with the law because they need protection from their parents, biological parents. I've told you even of educated people, we're seeing more educated parents who are broken down in moral values. The mother is into her loose lifestyle. The father is doing his own thing. He's the guy man, he's a guy man. And even in shady business, because he cannot be at home, he's into 419, and the wife is living a loose life. And then the children are there. So they have to take away the children for protection, for adoption purposes. They are in contact with law because of they are victims of violence. We will talk more of accompanied refugee children. We do have a segment for migrant children. So these are children in contact with the law. So they are not in contact with the law because of anything they are doing, or because of their personal circumstance that has brought them there. So when we now meet with children either in conflict with the law or in contact with the law, we should know that they have rights. They have rights. And the rights, contained in the United Nations Convention of the Rights of the Child. So everything, most of it is stated in Article 40. Well, I just want us to look at, before we call it a day. Yeah, so before we call it a day, these are also other laws that talk about the rights of a child, either in conflict with the law or in contact with the law. It is well articulated in these laws, especially in Article 40, states how you treat a child. This law states how you treat a child, either in conflict with the law or in contact with the law. These are all, international laws that deals with that. And Nigeria is a signatory to all of these laws. We like signing laws, but we don't know the implication of is the implementation, is the implementation. Our problem is implementation, So, but let us just take to specific ones. So many laws that we've signed on, and how many of it are we implementing? And if we're implementing, how many of it are we implementing well? Like, for example, let us just narrow down. Maybe we'll stop here after we treat this, narrow it down to Article 43, so that the second bullet point, juveniles enjoy all the guarantees to a fair trial, just like adults. I think it's Saturday, party time. Don't worry, we should round up soon. Then we can enjoy the party. Just post my own jollof rice and the chicken. You can post it in the post office. They enjoy special guarantees because of their age, So the number one, hello, are we together? I want us to, let me just take these 2 slides. We cannot take everything just for our own purposes. Who can read this slide? I want to be sure that we're on this, because I've started hearing party music. Hello, who can read this slide? What are the special treatments a child in conflict with the law or in contact with the law? What are those extra special rights that they have? Who can read it? Who is online?
Elma.
Okay, Lady Homa. Hello, okay, yes. Who wants to read for us? Raise up your hand.
Inwoma is here already.
Okay, so read it for us. This slide.
It said, in addition to the prohibition of physical punishment, such measures include 1, placement in a cell without light. 2, custody in a small room or cell. 3, reduction of diet. 4, limitation or denial of contact with family members. 5, collective punishment as well as all other form of punishments that can threaten physical or mental health of a juvenile.
Okay, so you see, they have the right of fair hearing, like they are presumed innocent until proven guilty. Apart from that, you must not put them in a prison cell that has no light. Am I communicating? You must not put them in a small room or cell. That is like a dog house. You must not give them food without meat. They must have balanced diet. Then you must not deny them contact with family members. Or maybe, okay, let's use a school system. Collective point. Who are you people? Okay, who are the noisemakers? The now start saying, it is Damola, it is Ikechi, it is this. Okay, all of you go and kneel down inside the sun. Collective punishment. And so that it will threaten their physical and mental health. They are not to be subjected to such. Am I communicating? So when you are doing your practicum, these are the things you should look out for and note that this is absent, because practicum is not in isolation. It must it must, it must reflect your own thinking, and you must identify the gaps that you have observed. Am I communicating? And then the United Nations Convention United Nations Convention on the Rights of a Child, so they are saying a child must be informed of the charges. What are you charging him or her for? Then the child has a right not to be compelled to give testimony. You must confess today. You must confess today that you cannot force the child to confess guilt. And the child is presumed innocent until proven guilty. You cannot compel the child to confess. The child has a right to legal assistance in preparing for court. The child has a right to have his or her parents, legal guardians, informed of the arrest, informed of the detention, informed of the charges, unless it is against the child's interest. So the child, even as bad or as wicked or as whatever as we perceive the child to be, the child has rights. And more, even in that, even being in conflict with the law, the child has the rights of effective legal remedy. The child has the right to privacy. The child has the right to emergency procedure. If the child falls sick, the child has the right to emergency procedure for the best health services. The child has the right to liberty and safety. The child has the right to be interviewed in the presence of parents, professionals, social worker. Can you see social worker there? You can see how important we are, but we are not recognized in this our Obodo Nigeria, and that we must continue to make noise. So you can see how important you are in the society. And if you do not know your own powers, how can you be effective in your work as a social worker? The child has the right of free services to an interpreter. Perhaps the child is Igbo, coming from wherever in the east to Lagos. Then Iya Kamaru accused him of stealing her corn. The child must be given a right of an Igbo interpreter to tell him that Iya Kamaru is accusing you of stealing her corn. And then the child can say that, oh, I saw the corn, I didn't see anybody there. And I thought it was free for all. I was hungry and I took the Iya Kamaru's corn to eat. I ate because I was hungry, not because I wanted to steal. So your social worker, you know how to defend the child. So, these are the child's rights, even in conflict. So let us discuss this and we end it here. Then we will talk about the special case of immigrant children and the law when we meet again. Any question, contribution at this time, so that I can also dress up and go and, where is that music? Send the address so that I can dress up and come and eat party rice. Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Yes, Mr. Adilabu Samuel, your contributions, please.
Well, I just want to say thank you. In fact, today's lecture is just a peculiar one of the past ones we have done. I really so much enjoy, even though the network, pushed me out, pushed me in like 3 times, but then I still gain a lot today. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, and God bless you too. Any question? Any life experiences we want to share? Anything we want to share? Any question? Okay. Any contribution, comments? Let me see. Let me see if my people are still with me. Who is here? Nora Jackson, have you spoken today?
Have
you spoken today?
Yes.
Okay. What about Barbara Abba? Have you spoken today?
Hello, ma. Good evening, ma. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Lady Barbara. Yes.
Okay, ma. I want to ask a question. Whose fault is it when a child dies? So some children, they grow on the streets.
Yes.
These children, they have parents, they have guardians.
Yes.
And then some of them are being used as drug sellers.
Yes.
Or introduced into early prostitution.
Yes.
As low as the ages of even 13 to 15.
13 is even old.
Okay.
9, 10.
Let's say from 9, because they use them to sell drugs from one
Yes.
point to another.
Yes.
So whose fault is it? The person sending these children to sell these
Yes.
drugs or introducing these children to prostitution?
Yes.
Are they being persecuted if they are caught?
That is
because if they are being persecuted if they are caught, why is this wicked crime still going on?
Yes, that is the failing of collectively all of us, societal failures. It's under societal failures. The parents didn't have any good upbringing. Poverty pushed them into it. So it is a circle of poverty. It's called, it's a circle of, so it needs several multi-layer or in a multi-layer interventions. You have to talk to the parents, know their background. Then, they'll say it's because we're hungry, poverty. Some of them lack of education. That is why education is important. They don't have any other option. They don't know of any other option of how to survive in life. And the only thing they know how to do is to sell drugs. So, and because they are already hooked on drugs, and you need money to buy drugs, so they use their children to be able to get money to buy drugs. So a drug person has his or her brain rewired. They'll just do anything, get money for drugs. So that is why it is a multi-layered, it is a complex society, a complex societal challenge. And everybody is to blame. The government is to blame. I am to blame. You are to blame. Collectively, we can do better. We can do better through our advocacy. Make sure we hold our leaders responsible. We are becoming more and more, the number of social workers are increasing we can come up collectively for advocacy purposes. When we see our councillors, when we see our senators, when we meet people, House of Reps, you speak as an informed social worker. So when we begin to respond, when we see them on the street, we will just look straight as if they don't exist. We will drive past. Please let me quickly leave this area. So we can do better than driving past. We can begin to hold our leaders accountable. That's why I said it's a collective responsibility, and collectively we are to blame, and collectively we can address the situation. It's a very complex situation. So if you see your counselor and you don't say anything, if we don't come together to advocate, then that is where we share in the blame, because it's a circle. It will continue to be until we are able to break that circle. Thank you. Any other question? Okay, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you well. I will send a couple of questions for us to work on, which we'll submit before our next meeting date. So on that note, thank you very much and enjoy your weekend.
Ma, please, can we get the notes
of this class today?
Yes.
Okay, fine. I'll do something. I've sent the note of the first one. I've sent the note of the first one. And
Okay, ma, thank you.
yes, sure. All right. So bye for now. Enjoy your weekend and God bless.
God bless you too. Bye.
Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma. We appreciate. Thank you, ma.